Hey everyone, welcome to this demo. Sorry for the delay in getting this available. It was a little tricky to try to plan this out because there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to figure out exactly what to tell you all. So this is going to be a little bit of a free-flowing tutorial, but hopefully we cover some stuff that'll be pertinent to you guys. Everything is going to be dealing with camera, post-processing, and sequencers. This is going to be all about kind of like being able to record your your walkthroughs of your environments and making really pretty renders and all that stuff. So here we go. And bear with me. Usually I do this on two monitors, but since I can't record two monitors, this is going to be a little bit weird. So just bear with me if I kind of struggle with the interface a bit. So this is just a really quick demo scene, just to have some big objects, some objects far away from camera, that kind of thing. We can see that if we grab our camera that I've just got a little bit of depth of field on here. And to get depth of field in Unreal, it's really easy. You just kind of you go to the camera, and you can even type depth in here and it'll bring up all the settings for it. You can see it's usually the two big things that you want to edit are the f-stop and the focus method. I have it set to manual, and you can see as I kind of turn this up and down, I'm able to focus and defocus what I'm looking at. This has a pretty cool thing where it says manual focus distance, and you just hit this little eyedropper and then select in your scene where you want to focus. So let's pick it right here. And you can see it focuses, then defocuses everything else, which is really cool. Depth of field is awesome. I definitely use it, especially for like photography type things, or if I'm doing like still art or something like that. It really adds a nice look to it. I'm ray tracing this scene too, by the way, just in case you're like, why do those reflections look so good? It's just ray tracing that's turned on. So with cameras, basically, and I'm just going to delete this one. I just want to show you the depth of field. So we're going to go to cinematic, and we've got some tools that we can use over here. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the rig crane. So we'll just drag that in. And basically what this is like a film set crane. And what we can do is we'll drag out a camera, focus in on it, and we can attach this camera to our crane. So we're gonna just here. Looks good. So now if I take our camera and middle click, drag, drop onto the crane, or maybe just click, drag, drop. Oh, that's my Maya coming out. So it's just click, drag, drop. So now the camera is now paired into the crane. But the way the crane is set up, it has really great tools. So now we can actually we can pitch this. It's really sensitive. But you can see that the camera is acting like it would be on a crane. If you try to do this yourself, the camera would be rotating up into the sky. So this is just kind of a little bit of a shortcut that you can use. You can also yaw it, so we can do like this. You can see that the camera is still facing forward, which is really cool. You can also lock these if you want to. So that's one way you can kind of manipulate cameras. So I'm going to unparent this. So just click drag up, delete that crane. And then this is something I use a lot is the rig rail. What's really cool about this is that it has a little spline element in here, so we can make this as long as we want. So if we just click that and then drag, we can kind of plan out our dolly move. So let's just plan a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to do like a side to side. So let's go here, here. You can always grab that root and then move it, and then just give it a little bit of an angle. So then we can do, we have this little platform here. So I'm going to grab my camera. I probably should have done this before I started moving the track around, but that's okay. You'll get the idea. Rotate this a little bit. That's right. And then flip it around 180. Move forward. Good. So now I'm going to take the camera, left click drag onto our rail. And if we grab our rail, you're going to see we have these things current position on rail. So now we can do a nice sliding dolly shot, which is much more difficult to do if you're just trying to translate the camera. And another cool thing that you can do, and we're going to get into sequencer next, so I'll show you this, but if I wanted to, I could keyframe. So I can keyframe this camera move, and then I can grab my camera and then rotate as well. And you'll see that with the rail, you can add 2 levels of animation. So you're getting the rail plus you're getting the camera. Then you can also do zooms as well. So you can see just with this one little move, that looks really, really cool. You can see like the depth it's a really simple scene, but you can still see a lot of depth in it. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and set up the sequencer with this rail. So I'm just going to delete both of these things and just start from scratch, just so you guys get the full experience here. So if I was going to set up a scene for this, first thing I would do is drag the rail in. Then I'm just going to turn my snap on and rotate it because I know I'm just going to recreate that camera move that we just did. Then I'm going to move it to the start position where I want it, grab our endpoint, and then move that out. Then I'm going to make a camera, drag that in. Snaps on, rotate that 180 degrees. Move forward here. And then I'm going to parent those. Okay, so next step, sequencer. So under cinematics, we have 2 options, add level sequence and add master sequence. I'm just going to talk about level sequences for now. Basically, the master sequences is if you want to take a bunch of level sequences and edit them together. I don't typically do that, so I'm just going to show you how to use the level sequence. It's going to open up the thing. It's going to say, what do you want to call it? We'll just call this sphere move, and then hit save. And then this window pops up. That was just on my other screen. So we'll try to get this in a position that works. Maybe I'll talk. There we go. Thanks. So we have to add our objects to our sequencer. The sequencer is basically like a normal animation timeline that you've seen a million times. You get tangent controls, move keys around, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a few ways you can get things down here to start adding to your tracks. I'm just going to grab the camera, drag it down. That's going to create these 2 tracks. One is called camera cuts, and then there's one for the actor. We'll talk about camera cuts in a bit. Then I'm going to grab this rail, bring it down here as well. Just drag it. There we go. I think I might. Yeah, there we go. This is just for organization. So for under the camera rig rail, we have this track option. And then we can go in and there's a property. So these are custom tracks. And you can see we have current position on the right. So we're just going to add that. And that was that side to side. Now you can see I'm controlling the camera that's on that rail by this position. So I'm just going to 0 that for now. And then other things that we can do here, we can change our focal length, our manual focus, which, you know what, let's give that a shot. Let's try some. I've never animated the focal before, but it might be kind of cool to try that. Yeah, cool. Let's do that. So let's start defocused. To add a keyframe, all I have to do is click this little circle right here. And let's go ahead and add that at the beginning of our timeline. So we'll go manual focus, and then we'll add a keyframe, and then I'll go, say, out to 30, and then focus it back in. We're gonna go like that. That's cool. So we've got that in there. We can add some rotation too, but let's go ahead and animate our current position on rail just so we get an idea of the movement. So we're gonna go to frame 0, key, and then I'm gonna go out to 150. And I'm just gonna go all the way over. And that's set a key for us up here. Let's take a look at our move. Just play it. So that looks cool. Let's go ahead and make this focus a little bit slower. So we'll just move that. Actually, just delete it. So I want to visually see where we want to start focusing. Let's just say we'll start focusing right around when we get close to this one. Focus. There we go. That's cool. I also want to rotate the camera as well, just to give us this kind of like, I don't know, documentary type feel. So go to rotation, keyframe it. You'll see under rotation, you can keyframe separate things, or you can just do an entire three. So you can keyframe X, Y, Z at once, or you can do them individually. Well, whatever you want to do. So let's go ahead and rotate this. Not that way. Not that way. That way. So let's aim at that object right there. We'll key that. And as our camera moves, let's swing it to kind of focus here. At the end of it, we'll focus on this last piece. All right, let's go ahead and play it. Great. So anybody that's tried to animate just the camera in Unreal, you know that what we just did was way cooler and much easier and faster to deal with. So now that we have our sequence, one key thing you absolutely have to remember to do, I can't stress this enough, you have to save your sequences. Going up here and hitting save all will work. But I always make sure to check. If you saw, like if I move this key and then move it back, see that little star? I always check these sequences because you can spend a long time editing this stuff. And if you don't hit that save button and then you exit out of this, you're going to lose all your work. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I've done it before and it sucks. That's why I'm warning you about it. It is not cool. So once we get all of this stuff, once we get our camera moving and everything set up, we want to render this, right? So we're going to hit this, render this movie. It's the movie queue button, and then this is going to pop up. You have render movie settings. There's all this stuff here as well. And then you can hit capture movie. But what we're going to do something instead. Under cinematics, I have to add this. That's good. So let's go to edit, plugins, and let's type in movie. And we have this thing down here called movie render queue. We want to enable that, and then it's going to say, do you want to restart it? And then we'll just say yes. Like the sequencer, close that. If you ever get this error where it's like, I don't know where this thing is, just right click and go to assign actor and then just reassign it. So if I just type in, okay, that was a weird error, but basically the level wasn't loaded. So I was in a default level and none of the cameras were there. And that's what I kept looking for, was where the cameras were. So as soon as I opened the level, the cameras came back. So now we should have a render queue. So we go to cinematics, we have movie render queue. And you're going to get this kind of weird looking window. We want to add a render job. So we want to pick our level sequence, like so. Under configuration, I have a preset that's already loaded, and I'm going to send you guys the documentation on how to build this. There's a little bit of coding involved. You have to get these console variables set up. There's really good documentation on it, and I'll just post it to the channel instead of me going through all of these. If you want to, you can take a snapshot of these settings, but I encourage you to go through the documentation because it's good stuff. This is basically setting your different parameters inside the scene through a command call when it renders, which is really, really cool. So you can work at a kind of a lower resolution, and then when you render, it'll set all this stuff for you. So I'm just gonna just accept that. We're gonna put the output, so this can be wherever you want to save them. Yeah, I just keep it in default movie renders. And then just double checking over here, the map is untitled, which is check that. And then sphere move is the sequence. And then I just hit render local. And then you'll see a window pop up. And this might go through pretty fast. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you guys make you sit here and watch it, but you'll see a preview window. And then you'll see these subsamples. And you can see it renders really, really fast. It's path tracing, so it's not real time, but it does give you a really nice quality render, especially for your end projects. You're definitely going to want to use this. And that is sequencer and movie render queue in a nutshell. There are tons of videos online for lots of in-depth stuff. This should get you to a point really with your projects. All you really need to use sequencer is moving your cameras. You can animate objects with sequencer. I just don't do it very often because most of my environment stuff it stays in one place. It doesn't move around. Trees don't dance around typically. So and that's it. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you all later. Thank you.